and welcome to the Big Apple School Podcast, the weekly English show where we speak about everything under the sun. The major goal of this show is to help you improve your English and, of course, learn something new. My name's Katja, I'm your host for today, and my beautiful guests today are...
Ken from the Philippines.
Maria.
And Varya.
So we have today a very interesting but very personal topic, actually, which is big decisions, changes, and so on. But I think that before we move to the topic itself, we gotta spill the beans. Ken, wink, wink. Do you want to spill the beans and share the news?
Well, okay. Firstly, I want to say that I've been working here at Big Apple School for 4 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. Ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it's all part of experience, and I'm still thankful that I've had this experience here. And, not just the school itself, but to be able to live in Russia, Mother Russia, which is one of my favorite countries, really, for real. And today is my last day and my last podcast episode with you guys. So, well, it's unfortunate, but as they say, life goes on.
To new beginnings. So where will you be heading?
To Kenya in Africa.
You gotta be joking.
You're going to become a marathon runner.
Yeah. Well, that was my dream when I was a kid, so why not? I'm going to Africa. Yeah.
But for real though. I mean, if you want to keep it a secret.
No. I've been a fan of Slavic countries. So I've been here for 4 years, and my next goal is to go to Minsk in Belarus. And I'm going for the Eastern Slavic countries.
Oh, so what's next? What's next that can be on the list? So we have Poland, Slovakia, Slovenia, Ukraine,
Serbia?
The former Yugoslav
Serbia.
republics. Exactly.
But if you learn a Slavic language in kind of an Eastern, Southern Slavic countries, it's like you learn one, you get 5 for free. So,
right.
Some Slavic, all the Slavics, basically.
But I really promised myself to learn Russian this time because anyway, people in Belarus, they also speak Russian. And this time around, I feel like a loser because I was in Kazakhstan for 5 years, Russia 4 years, and my Russian is still comparable to that of a 4-year-old boy.
Have you ever heard 4-year-olds speak?
Well,
I mean, trust me, they know so many words.
They probably speak better than me. Seriously, I really want to learn Russian in the same way that some of the foreign teachers here like Ben, he really studied Russian, and I feel like it's about time. Like, come on, Ken, what are you doing?
So guys, I think that for this episode, you just have to send, hundreds of comments to Ken saying thank you for everything that he has done for us and for the school.
Thank you also to all the listeners and our students for, being loyal and supporting our school in whatever projects that, we've had.
Yeah. So I think, this news is kind of good for the topic that we have, which is, big changes.
Right.
And I want to ask, what kind of events maybe, or in general, what is usually considered a major change in life? So what kind of events would fall into this category?
If we follow the lifeline, starting school, finishing school, starting university, graduating from university. Well, that's the first maybe half of your life, and then maybe starting a family, but it's not for everybody.
Well, get a job first.
Yeah, get your first job. That's
Yeah.
really
Before
maybe.
you think of, getting married, you gotta have some money first.
It can be even more life-changing than starting a family, really.
Then what else could be?
Well, after getting married, years later or even a few months later, preparing yourself to be a parent, raising kids.
Well, it could be before or after,
even,
or
it could
at the
also,
same time. It
right.
depends,
True,
on the
true.
person. Yeah, maybe having children, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know.
For some people, it's getting a divorce,
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
major event. And for many people, actually, it's also moving to another country.
Or even to another city in the same country is
Right.
also
True.
kind of changing. Yeah. Or maybe changing a sphere of your job. Yeah, because like maybe when you are at some point of your life, you start to think like maybe I'm not a doctor, maybe I'm a builder actually. What if?
I want to ask the panel here, have you ever thought of doing another job, or have you done a different job other than teaching, of course? Have you done that?
I did.
Like what?
When I was a student, I worked in a bookshop. Well, it was of course a part-time job, but still I loved it. Bookshops, you know.
Yeah. Were there any cats in your bookshop?
No, unfortunately. If there were cats, probably if there had been cats, probably I wouldn't have changed this job.
We wouldn't see Masha
I would
here.
still live in Novokuznetsk with those cats. I don't know.
So you were working in a bookshop.
Yeah, not shop assistant, probably. I don't know, like consultant. We were called consultants because we needed to really understand what people's needs were and to help them choose, because people never know what they want to choose.
That's true. Well, Varya, you have had a major change in career.
Well, I started working when I was 13, babysitting. And so we lived in a certain neighborhood where all of us friends would rotate from house to house. And back then, babysitting, we got paid 50 cents an hour. And we were also...
Was it good money for back then?
Yeah, I guess for 50 cents an hour, I could buy some fabric and make my own clothes. So I had school clothes. Yeah, so that was very good. But we were also required or expected to wash the dishes and clean up the house as well. I don't know,
what?
I don't know why. I have no idea why we were expected to do that, but we...
As a part of a babysitting job?
Yes. I guess because we had nothing else to do but, clean up.
Or just somebody wanted to save money on, having a housekeeper.
Yeah, just get a babysitter.
So wait, that was your first job. And then...
Well, I was a cocktail waitress.
Oh.
Yeah, for a few years.
You never cease to amaze me.
Yeah. Well, I've forgotten. I mean, so many things I've done. I don't even ever think about my cocktail waitress days. But yes, I had a nice little tray, and
That's lovely. And then most of your career, you were a dancer.
Yeah, I danced.
You were in general in this industry,
Yes. And I remember when I first got my first ballet teaching job. That was an exciting time. As you're saying, your very first job that I really thought really meant something.
Aw. Wait, how did you end up being an English teacher?
I graduated from college and I was changing my career. And I fell through the ads and saw online teaching with kids in China. That's how I started. Yeah.
Wow. Wait, you were in China? You lived in China?
Online. So I lived
online.
in the States and I had jobs with Chinese companies. Yeah.
Online, teaching kids. You're my hero. I cannot even imagine doing that with kids. Yeah. Ken, what about you?
I've always thought all my life, like I haven't done any kind of, other jobs. And that's why I also asked myself if I could do a different job. But that's the thing, because I just can't imagine myself doing something else.
You can't?
Yeah, I can't.
Really?
Like,
It sounds like you found your calling.
Well,
One of very few lucky people, actually.
but I would like to be able to do other things too. But then again, I ask myself the same question, but I can't seem to answer that question, at least not for now, but who knows in the future.
I sometimes, also wonder, like, if I were not a teacher, what would my job be? In most cases, I say a baker or, some sort of a pastry chef, because I used to work at a bakery. I used to make cupcakes, as a side hustle, basically, while I was already working in a school. So that was fun.
Wow.
But actually, it's fun that all my, university days, college life, I kept saying, teaching, no, I will never be a teacher. Hell no. I will be a translator.
Yeah, same here. Mm-hmm.
I got my second degree in translation. I had, a job in a translation agency. It was fun when I translated a meeting in a company that produces detonators and everything. That was fun. That was very fun. Can't say more because of an NDA assigned, but still. But then when I started working in a translation agency after 1 year in a school, I was, typing something, and then I thought, there's no one to talk to. Okay. So back to my computer. I always had this need to talk to people, to chat, to discuss something. And so after 2 months, I was actually fired. They said, you know what? We don't think you'll fit in so well. Like, you have a different type of personality. Like, you won't be able to do that for long. You'll get bored, you'll get tired. So we'll just save you, save you the effort. So just
Oh, they were wise. They were helpful. Really.
Actually, yeah. At first, of course, I thought, what? No, I would know better. No, they knew better. So I started working with adults, and that's how I found this. And now I've been enjoying it for the last, 8 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's really, really interesting. So, and what would you say was a decision maybe or an event that kind of changed the whole course of your life? Or maybe several events?
Oh my God, this is going to sound dramatic.
Not. Go for it.
I'm a product of a broken family. In fact, my parents were never married. I don't know if it's nice to say that I was born out of wedlock, but anyway, but that's the thing. In fact, my grandmother was even against that, the relationship between my mom and dad. And why am I saying this? Because as a child, I was kind of jealous with the other kids whose parents, would, go to them to school and supported them. And well, it's not like I was alone. I was raised by my grandmother, although at the time I felt like there was something missing. There was no father figure. So it was just my grandmother. She was a very strict disciplinarian. My God.
We have
but I
heard
love her.
many a story about this wonderful woman.
But despite that, I really worked hard at school because, whatever attention I couldn't get at home, I tried to make up for it at school. And so modesty aside, I did very well. I really studied hard because I wanted attention, I guess. And there were even times when I saw some of my classmates who weren't doing very well at school. I'm not saying they're dumb, okay? Maybe they're just lazy, whatever, or maybe not as motivated as I was then. And I just thought to myself, like, what am I doing this for? Sure, my grandmother would encourage me. She helped me throughout my education. And so, that's why I got involved in a lot of activities at school. And so I told myself someday, if I'm going to be a parent, I'm going to make sure that my son or, my daughter or whoever will not feel the same kind of feeling that I had growing up. I even had hatred towards my mom, but, things have been settled now. I'm good with her. And I have a very open mind and a very forgiving heart, despite my evil mind sometimes. And I told myself, okay, so despite that, I didn't allow the circumstances to overcome me as a child. And I still wanted to have a good, happy life, which I'm glad I was able to do so, mostly at school. And then after school, I told myself, I'm going to live a happy life. I'm going to travel the world, see, and explore the world, experience different kind of cultures. And that's, what got me into working in different countries. And I'm going to my third country now. So that's basically my motivation. I just want to live life, enjoy it, and whatever, experiences that I didn't have in my childhood, I'd like to make up on that in my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to go ahead a little bit, just, for one question, because that was supposed to be my question for Varya and Ken.
Okay.
But that's okay. So, but how did you find the courage, to actually move to another country? Because very often people, contemplate that. They think about it like, oh, that would be great. That would be great. But you actually did that. And a country which I believe is totally different from the Philippines.
True. Well, to be honest, in the Philippines, we, even as a child, we've already, they kind of implant this in our minds that you have to be somewhere outside the Philippines to work because it is our belief that we're going to earn more money. And because we are family oriented, we ought to work abroad so that we can support the rest of the family. That's how
the rest of the family.
Exactly. That's how we're raised. And it's funny because it becomes an obligation for children to actually help the parents. Right now, of course, I have a different mindset. I don't believe in that, but having grown up in the Philippines, that's how we were raised, and that's what I thought. And initially, that was my motivation to go abroad.
Mm-hmm.
But now, of course, things have changed, and I don't actually believe in that. And
how did you choose?
That's called remittance, and it adds to the economy of the country that you're sending the money to. So
True.
it's very important for the economy there.
Can you say it again? What is it called?
Remittance.
Remittance.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a new word.
So it's like, you earn some money, you send it back to your home country.
Oh, so you kind of support the
And
economy.
it
of
helps the
country.
economy.
Yes.
It's
and,
true.
And some countries really rely.
True. And that's why we are called in the Philippines modern heroes.
Oh.
You won't believe that. But that's how they call overseas Filipino workers. OFW for short.
That kind of explains why there are so many workers from the Philippines all over the world.
Yeah.
And they believe to be very hardworking.
Canada, anywhere.
But let me just go back a little bit to your question, which is what were my thoughts about? Well,
how you found the courage?
Right. So the courage was already there. I didn't have to find it. It found me. And I had some, idealistic views because, I heard stories that, if you work abroad, your life is going to change. You're going to be rich. You'll be able to support your family. And I believed in that. But if I got to be honest with you, with my first year in Kazakhstan, it was a real struggle. I wasn't prepared for that. Firstly, a change in the environment, the language. Oh my God, I didn't know any Kazakh or Russian when I went there. It was just, oh my God, nobody understands me. What the heck? And then I had to adjust to the climate, my first winter experience, although the first few months were great, and then I fell into depression, because of, winter blues.
The culture shock, the winter,
culture shock,
everything.
The food, everything.
Oof.
It took me about a year to finally adjust. It wasn't everything that I thought of because I had such great ideals, but yeah.
I think it's kind of a good illustration, to all those people who idealize moving to another country.
Yeah.
They always say, once you do that, how people believe that the grass is always greener, basically, over there. So yeah, because I experienced the culture shock when I moved to the US, and people are like, how can you be depressed or sad or anxious? You're in America.
Yeah.
You're like, well, let me tell you something. It's just totally different from Russia. So I'm adjusting. But yeah. Varya, what about you?
Yeah, I want to speak to that idealism because when I was working on my thesis in grad school, it was a Russian theme. And I had my Russian /Soviet professor had told another professor that I was idealistic. And so my desire to move to Russia I was just stuck in idealism. And I always was kind of like resentful of him saying that behind my back. And I knew it was him who said it, because who else would have said that? He said it. But it's true. You do get stuck in that idealism. Yeah, definitely. So with my courage, the same way, when you know that you have to do something, you know that this is a decision that you've made, and I have complete trust in my decision-making abilities, even though people said, oh no, why are you doing this? Don't go. I knew I had to. Finally, this was the time this was the time. This was the moment. It was now or never. That was really it. And so I did not need courage. I just needed to do what I needed to do. However, after I came, that's when I really needed courage to stay and to deal with all this. It is very difficult. It's not, I don't live the life I thought I wanted to live. I don't have the choices to do such things. The courage to stick it through.
And then you came here in 2019, right?
Right.
So right before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was like
and
something
then
like
the
7 or 8
pandemic
months
hit.
before that. Yeah.
So I can imagine, the struggle and how difficult it must have been mentally to stay through the pandemic in another country.
Oh, I don't know
well.
about that because I do well in isolation anyway. So I that was not the problem. The pandemic was not the problem.
Oh, okay.
That was actually a vacation for me. But just dealing with life here. That has been a need for courage.
How has that changed your life?
Just a stepping stone, another stepping stone, closer to what I really want to do. Probably that. Yeah. So grateful for the opportunity and the fact that I'm here. Every morning I wake up and say, I'm so glad I'm here and not there. Every morning.
Aww.
Yeah. So there's, as I say, I stand by my decision.
That's great.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
this is the first country you've moved to.
I guess so, because I have lived in other countries for 8 months, 6
But you
months.
still,
yeah.
that still counts.
But I guess when you live, I think maybe a year is probably something.
At least a year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so this is the first time I've lived a year in a foreign country or more. Three more.
What other countries have you stayed at?
Yeah, I stayed. I lived. I worked in Iran for 3 August, September, October,
Say
November.
what?
Yeah, in Iran before the revolution. So that was in 1978. So that was August, September, October, November, December. And I finally left.
And she still remembers. Wow.
Yes, because the Shah was exiled in February and I left before the Shah was exiled. Yeah.
Wow.
So Iran.
Yeah, Iran. And then Japan 2 times. Okinawa.
How come that has never come up in our conversation?
Oh,
Right.
you just missed it. You've just missed it. I just say the same stories over and over. Yes. So on Okinawa, maybe March, April, May, June, July, August,
Okinawa.
September, 8 months.
So this is
Yeah,
this
Okinawa.
famous island that is
Oh,
famous for
very
the centenarians
Oh,
and
my
long
goodness.
life
Yeah.
expectancy.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about World War II
Yeah,
bombardment.
the associations, right?
Right. Of the war. Yeah.
Because now the Okinawa is so famous because this is one of the places with the longest life expectancy in the world.
Right.
Huh,
And
interesting.
the highest number of centenarians actually in the world.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Iran, Japan, Russia.
Yeah.
I admire you.
Oh, well, thank you.
This
What
is
a
so
long,
great.
long experience. Yeah, it was just things I wanted to do. And people always said, don't do it. And I go, oh, I'm going.
And you always go for it.
I always do. Like, yeah.
So this is my aspiration, not to be afraid of decision making and actually pursuing what I want to do. Oh, amazing.
Well, you're still young and you still have the energy for it.
But I'm not so young, and you still have to keep going.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to keep going. Definitely.
Don't let your age,
Yeah,
stop you
definitely
from
not.
doing things.
Yeah, so if you can't do it now in your 30s, then you can maybe do it in your 50s or your 60s. Yeah.
I usually have an example of, when some students, let's say, call you or something and they're like, so I want to have classes, but I'm old. Usually that means they're not. So they're like in their 50s.
Usually it's like they are 21.
Well, right. But I had some people who say like, oh, I'm so old. They're in their 50s. I'm like, please. And I always tell them when they're afraid of like starting something new or something, of one student I had when I was still a student. So I was tutoring and I had a call from this woman and she said, I want to have some classes, but very intensive because in a month or like in several weeks, I'm going to see my son in America and I plan to stay there. So, and she had 4 classes per week, 3-4 classes per week. And only at the last lesson, I kind of thought to ask, where exactly are you going? She's like, Las Vegas. She was 72. Never stopped her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So age, social construct, don't let it fool you or stop you. So Yeah. Wait, Masha, you are also a person who has moved. So you've moved from a different region
Yeah.
to Novosibirsk. So how did you?
It was not maybe so far to experience the culture shock thing, but still, I guess I experienced some kind of shock. And also, as Ken said, for example, I got quite depressed after moving because, well, when I moved, my son was very, very small. I didn't work full time. And it's like I stayed at home. It was sad, kind of upsetting.
So you moved when you already had a kid. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah, he was
after
very young.
graduation and everything.
Yeah, of course. After graduation, I had worked for 3 years before I moved to Novosibirsk.
How did you find the courage to do so? Because usually, people with kids, they are, quite reluctant to move, with a baby.
I couldn't say so. Maybe I just didn't think about like the consequences or something. It's not very far, like 400 kilometers. And when you think that you can go back, you can come back anytime, it kind of supports you. It's like I don't burn all the bridges.
Fair enough.
I just, when it's hard for me to make decisions, and usually it is, I just think that I can always come back. I have a place or I have some people. Well, I can come back.
It's like my life motto, which is a quote by Terry Pratchett in one of his books. He said, "Going back to where you started is not the same as never leaving."
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. Like, try, fail, and go back is not the same as, never trying at all.
And also it's a comforting thought. Even if you don't come back, still the idea that you can supports you.
Oh, well, in my case, knowing that I will never go back.
Never?
Yeah. I have no intentions of going back to the
Why
United
not?
States. I just don't have it. I don't see myself going back. I just don't see it. And I played with that idea. I thought, oh, that's not reasonable. And I really said to myself, no, I think that, anything can change. Of course, anything can change. But when I left, I said, there's no coming back. And I said, yeah. I said to myself, I talk to myself, right?
Yeah.
I said,
Who doesn't?
Oh, yeah. Why not talk to
a smart person? Yeah.
Yeah, the best person for you. And so I said, yeah, there's no coming back. To
why?
what? Yeah, to what? To what? I've had 60 whatever years there. No, it's something different now. Yeah, it's something different. Of course, things could change. So something might say, oh, I've got to go back, but I just don't see it. I don't see it.
I love your outlook on life, really.
Well, have you watched the U.S. news?
Oh, God,
All you have
yeah.
to do is consume news and go, oh, I don't want to go back to that. Oh, that. Oh, no, I don't want to go back to that either.
Oh, I feel you. You know how before the pandemic and when the pandemic hit, I still had my contract and everything with Wellesley. And I thought, well, it's going to be over very quickly. Of course, it was not. And I thought, well, I'm going to go back. I still have my contract. But the more I watch the news, the more I understand that, do I actually really want to go back? Or do I think I have to go back? 'Cause those two are
Right.
different.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And now I understand that the only thing I want to is go back to spend a year and earn some money and actually deal with all the stuff I've left there. And then after I'm done dealing with that, just to leave for good.
You see, it's about determining whether the chapter has already closed or not.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like I didn't have some closure,
Yeah,
I need
definitely.
that.
Because when I left Kazakhstan, I knew that was it.
The doors closed,
Exactly.
the chapters ended.
Just to share with you very quickly, I was at the airport. I wanted to cry, but then I didn't want other people to look at me like, what is this grown-ass man doing? He's crying. And it's like, no, come on, hold back your tears. You can do it. But really, I wanted to, cry like a baby because I thought it was not because, I was very sad. It was just like, okay, another door has closed. I know I gotta move on. And anyway, I'm gonna take those beautiful memories with me. But if you ask me now, do I want to go back there? No, maybe as a tourist, but whatever experience I've had over there, it will stay there, and I'm gonna leave it like that. So life goes on.
Yeah, some doors are very easy to close. When I was leaving Yakutsk, my hometown, I was just looking at that like, am I gonna miss this place? No, I'm saying goodbye forever, like for good. And I still have friends who go there, you know, like every year, every couple of years, they still have some relatives there. And they ask me, don't you want to go back to see it? I'm like, no.
And then they think you're crazy or that you're not compassionate or something's wrong with you.
They're like, why not? I'm like, look, I have my mom over here. I have my sister over here. So why would I want to go there? Like, but don't you have extended family? Like, yeah, this is the kind of family you don't want to have anything in common with. You don't want, you want to have to do nothing with them. No offense to my family, but well.
I can very well relate,
so,
but never mind.
But yeah, so sometimes we get the closure, sometimes we don't. But wait, so Ken, you have said about the decision that changed the whole course of your life. So Varya, would you say that, what was your decision?
Yeah, it was it's so easy to pick. It was, I had been dancing my career in LA, Los Angeles, California, and I got a little injured, a kind of a chronic injury. And I thought, you know what? I need to stop this. I need to do something else. But the unfortunate thing was that there was nowhere in the whole wide world that I wanted to go. No city, nowhere. I was in the city I wanted to be. So I knew I had to do something very extreme, very drastic. So that was when I made the decision to join the United States Marine Corps. That was it. Yeah.
How?
Wow.
That was it.
So that was the decision basically to
get
quit
out.
dancing.
Stop dancing. Just get out. Just get out. Heal my chronic injuries and just get out. And so I did. And that led to my having a baby. So that changed. That was a completely different trajectory of my life there.
I can imagine.
And so if anyone wants to read my credo nonfiction, it's called Made in Japan, Born in the USA. And I talk about my daughter being made in Japan. And I had to make sure that I got stateside so that she would be born on soil, American soil. Because had she been born in Japan, she would have been a Japanese citizen. And I didn't want that. So
how many years were you in Marine Corps?
oh, only two. Yeah.
Two. Well, it's not only, I'd say. Wait, what did that involve? Because I don't think I can actually imagine what that involves.
Yeah,
like,
that involved learning how to run and being physically fit. In order to get in, you had to pass exams just to get in and stay fit and be very attuned to regimented schedules, which I am. I like organization. But when I was in boot camp, which was 12 weeks long, oh my goodness, I developed a stutter the first 2 weeks because I was so nervous. I actually talked like that.
Wow.
Because I was so scared. But then I got over that. But we learned all about military history or Marine Corps history, how we are supposed to wear our uniform, physical exercise, all the things we needed to learn.
And Marine Corps, I assume that would involve, something done on the water. So were you actually
right?
Was
so my
that a part of that?
MOS, my job was 0411. I can't believe I remember that number. 0411. I was in 0411, which means that I was in. What did I do? I key punched in downed equipment. So I had to make sure that things were combat ready. And if things weren't combat ready, I had to get on the phone and say, hey, what's going on with that Humvee or something? And so that was my responsibility.
And I would expect that there were not many women back then.
Right. Back then, there were only 5% women. Now I think there's more. There might be 13%, but there was only 5. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I liked it. I was around a lot of guys. I loved it. Yeah. Well, my mission was to find a husband. And if I couldn't find a husband, then I was going to have a baby. And so, yeah, I was having a great time.
Kind of take that one. I have a question non-related.
Am I saying too much?
There is no such thing as too much.
We love it.
Everyone has their own, definition of too much.
No, I have no limits, apparently.
Well, I mean, if you're ready to share it, why
Go
not
ahead.
do that? I have a question which is not related to your experience much, but is there any sort of a nickname for people who are in the Marine?
Yeah, you mean women?
No, in general.
Oh, like jarheads, leathernecks. Yeah.
The reason why I ask is that in Russia, I know that there is this collocation, which is in Russian, it's морские котики. So basically like marine cats.
Oh,
or rather
I would say seals.
Seals?
Oh.
Oh, the seals.
Yeah, because they're like
I usually picture
marine.
it like a cat.
No, not cat, but
that's true, a
seals.
seal.
Oh, we were devil dogs. We weren't
Devil
seals.
dogs.
Devil dogs.
So
because-
seal is too cute for us.
yes, devil dogs and leatherneck, and all those names are associated with history of how Marines had approached a battle. They came out of in World War I out of the forest, German forest, like devil dogs. So they're called devil dogs. Leatherneck is wearing has something to do with our uniform having to wear leather, so in case someone sliced us, there would be leather. In the olden days, way back when.
My
Yeah.
God, I'm
Jarhead.
astonished.
Jarhead is, I guess, because they shave their heads, and their heads are like a jar, or they're stupid. I don't know which one.
Wow. Really, over the course of us having, the podcasts and everything, you never cease to amaze me, really. I'm going to repeat that all the time. I've never heard about Iran or Japan. I do remember you once mentioned being in the Marine Corps, and at that moment I was like, what?
Oh,
Fantastic. So wait, and Masha, what about you? What would you say was your decision that kind of changed your whole life?
Probably not decisions, but things that are major changes were like probably having a baby because it changes you as a person, I guess. I'm not talking about like life routines and everything, but I mean, like I became more tolerant, I became more patient, I became a slightly better version of myself. And then I guess moving to Novosibirsk, moving from Novokuznetsk to Novosibirsk, because if it hadn't been for this thing, I wouldn't have started to work at Big Apple School, for example. That's kind of it. Well, I guess there are some other things, but I probably wouldn't talk about it.
Okay. All right. I sometimes think about, while I was preparing for the podcast, I thought, what would be my decision? I realized that there's only one major decision that stands out, the biggest one. It's not, applying for university or anything like that, but that was applying for Fulbright. Because when I was applying, I had never thought about it before. It was my professor who's like, have you ever considered applying for Fulbright? I'm like, the full what? I had never heard about that. And so she told me about that, and I applied, just out of curiosity. Okay, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Not big deal. And then I got it.
yeah, that's impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, after 3 stages of this application process, I got an email that, hey, you have been selected. And I was like, what? Wait, what? Oops, sorry. See how emotional I am. Like, me? Selected? And just so you understand, I had no knowledge of the US until back then. Like, I knew the capital. I knew that, okay, there were 50 states. And then I got my letter about Brandeis University in Massachusetts. I had to Google, like, okay, Massachusetts, what part of the US is that? Okay, I had to read about that. And then now I think about it, how it drastically changed my whole life. Like, all this chain of events. So experiencing a new culture, new mentality, actually leaving to live in another country. Until then, I've only moved to another region. That was huge. So meeting people. And I think that kind of sparked my interest in pursuing, further education. So now I'm like, I want to apply for university. I want to get full education, like a master's degree in another country, to see how different that is. So yeah, and just seeing this whole new universe just changed myself. It changed me as a person as much. Like,
You see, that's great because you get to see a different perspective. Because when I was in the Philippines, it was like just the Filipino mentality. I was just
same
in
like
a bubble.
in Russia, yeah.
But when I got out of my country, okay, we have this other side of the world. They think differently. And
Right?
now that's why every time people ask me, so how are you? How's your being a Filipino? And I always tell them, well, I'm not from the Philippines. I'm a citizen of the world.
That kind of feels like it, when you move to another country,
Right.
So you see how, okay, I'm trying to find correct, how different your nation is, or people
Right.
in your country are sometimes. Yeah. And I understand that if that hadn't been for Fulbright, I would never have gone to the US, because I'm from a poor family. I wouldn't have even, made enough money or saved enough money to fly there, because that's expensive. But this grant, since it's a fully funded grant, they paid for everything, the visa, for the flight, for, the housing, the food, everything.
Wow.
So I am so grateful for them. If it wasn't for them, I would never have done that. And then I got a new contract, thanks for Fulbright, new people. If anyone ever told me I would be friends with professors from MIT, I would be like, no, you're joking. Yeah, here I am over here. So, and if we talk about changes and, new things, on a scale like of 1 to 10, how afraid are you to try new things? And it's not only something major, but even like something on a daily basis, let's say.
Like a new flavor of coffee.
For example, let's start small.
Yeah, as simple as that. Why not?
Well, sometimes I'm quite adventurous to do that, to try a new type of coffee. But, I like new things, but if I don't start to overthink, which I usually tend to do. If I don't think, I just decide, then it's cool. Then it is easy, and then I'm grateful that I have done this. But if I start to think, then rethink, then overthink, then I can never just start changing something, which means that I just don't need to think. Don't let me think.
So, Ken, Varya?
Well, in my case, so long as it doesn't endanger my health or, my life, I go for it. Although, to be honest with you, I'm that kind of person who I try to go in one lane. Like, this is my system. I'm going to go with it. And sometimes, I fall into the trap of just not trying to do other things. Like, because I feel so comfortable in it, like comfort zone, right?
Well, people in general tend to be prisoners of habits. We are very often
creatures
Right.
of habits.
creatures of habits. We are,
Yeah, definitely.
And so from time to time, I try to challenge myself, like, are you always going to be doing the same thing? Isn't that boring? Maybe you want to open your mind a little bit into something different. Of course, there's a little bit of fear because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you never know until you try it. And then once you try it, well, in my case, okay, I can do it. It's doable. Oh, great. And then I feel good because I've proven to myself that it's, doable. I can do it. And I can also have fun doing it. But of course, initially, there are some concerns like, is it going to work? Is it for me? I'm sorry, we're supposed to be talking about small things, but I'm already thinking of,
it's
talking about
anything
big
from
things.
a very little thing to a huge thing. Yeah.
Normally, that's how I think. Like,
And
whenever a new opportunity comes in, I try to think it over and over, and then finally I make a decision. But it takes some time.
Yeah, I'm like
sorry.
that. I'm a creature of habit as well. But my inner change, that 100%, I've changed so much. I continue to change, and that inner interior change is really important. And that's what's really important to me, that I can be different and grow and not be the same old horrible self. But I am a scaredy cat. Oh yeah, try new coffee. Oh, what's that? Yeah,
Go for 2 years and join the Marine Corps. Easy.
that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, sometimes major changes are easier to make than some minor changes. I don't know how it works, but maybe we just find it comforting to, to be settled down with these routines. And for example, I can maybe move to another part of the world, but with the same coffee type, for example.
So it's going to be like something that will keep you sane, maybe.
Yep.
Like I have changed everything around me, but I still have my routine that, help me keep my sanity. It's actually, a good idea. I think this is how we, not the survive.
How we accommodate or something.
Yeah. If we think about, let's say the pandemic, it was a huge change for everyone, very well, for a lot of us, the whole life kind of changed. But we still had those routines, those little things.
Yeah, that's what psychologists actually recommended.
Like to find the routines.
Yeah, when the pandemic started, I read a couple of articles and stick to your routines, do some meditation. I don't know. I don't do meditation, but okay.
Yeah, that's hard to stick to your routine when you move to a foreign country. That was part of the problem. I couldn't have what I wanted and I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you lose some freedom, you lose part of your identity. And that's the hardest thing.
Then you kind of find a new
But you can
Well, maybe you can't.
have a new identity.
Yeah, but there's some things that are just innately you and that you have to do and you need time to do. And that has been the hardest thing, that I don't get those things.
I kind of listened to your stories and I've realized how much of a coward I am. Like, I mean, the US, yes, it was a huge change. I still have no idea how I did that. But again, if it hadn't been for Fulbright, I wouldn't be doing any of that. But I'm not only like a creature of habit. I very often think that I'm a prisoner of my habits because, you know, even when it comes to, let's say, little changes in an apartment, I'm like, no, I'm used to this setting, you know, to my workspace and everything. Everything stands on the same place. I know where it is. I don't want to move anything. Or let's say, you know, trying something new. Let's say with food, easy. That's absolutely easy. Like trying everything new, not a problem. Changing the things around me, let's say changing the skincare. But I'm used to my old skincare. Like, why?
We're afraid of changes because we don't have this type of neuron connections in the brain.
Yeah.
And once this new neuron connection is established, then it becomes easier and easier and easier. So it's hard to step over it. Well, that's
the neuroplasticity. We have to develop that.
And then the brain gets adjusted.
That's true. That's true. And tell me, is there anything you have kind of been contemplating for a while or thinking about doing, but still haven't found the guts to do? Or like still thinking maybe?
Sure, lots of things.
Okay.
I wouldn't tell, but trust me, a lot of things, yeah.
There's one, but it's very simple. Okay, it's ice skating because I've been in countries where there's winter and snow, but I've never done any kind of winter sport or activity. Like, what kind of a loser are you? That I always ask myself, like, you were in Kazakhstan for 5 years, Russia 4 years, and
in Kazakhstan they have this mountain ice
rink.
Right?
Shimbulak, and they have Medeo,
yeah.
right?
What?
Really, but I've never
Behind
tried.
the mountains, they have this beautiful ice skating rink.
Yeah, but never been there, and I don't think I will go back to Kazakhstan just for that. No,
Well, you're
thanks.
going to another Slavic country that also has winters.
I know, right?
Although not as harsh as here, I believe.
Yeah, hallelujah.
So you're moving to a milder.
Yes.
Book some place on an ice rink just
You see, the
when
thing
you
is,
arrive.
okay, there are two things that prevent me from doing it. Firstly, I'm not that big of a risk taker. I'm afraid that I might fall, I might break my back, whatever. That's the first thing. The second thing is people looking at me, falling, and secretly laughing at me. Really, that's my fear.
I would never go to an ice skating, like to skating rink alone because I'm like, oh, I'm going to fall and everything. I've been to a skating rink like 4 times in my life. So.
And how was
You're
it?
not, well, stressful, but kind of fun.
Oh.
But at the same time, after that, like, do I want to repeat that? Maybe like in a month, 2 months, a year, So it's not for everyone.
Promise that you'll go with someone because I had this wonderful fantasy of looking beautiful on the ice. Nothing special, but just doing ballet arms. And then I did slip and fell, and I did break my wrist.
You see?
Not helping right now.
Thank you for saying that.
But no one laughed
Because
at me.
I will never do it.
No, someone came up to me and was very helpful and helped me. So no one would laugh at you. So number 2 is okay. No one's going to laugh if you fall. But the first one, you might. So just go with someone who's very strong. And
you know what? I remember once I was in a skating rink that didn't have any sort of like a handrail, which was stressful enough.
Oh my God.
But you know how I enjoyed it? There was a little kid. She was like 5 years old. She just grabbed me by the hand and she was just like, moving me around. I'm like, how are you so good at this? Kids are not afraid of anything. They're so eager to teach you. They will also laugh at you, but be prepared for that because they are merciless.
Yeah, I know.
What about the ice that's bumpy around the edge? Because I tried to see around the edge and that's bumpy.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that. Yeah. But yeah, so skating then.
Go with 2 people, 1 on both sides, and that will be fine.
Okay. Well,
we'll
I need
be
some
waiting for the
courage.
photos, on your Instagram page.
Yes.
For sure, with me falling. Why not?
Well, you can do that, gracefully. You fall down, you make a pose,
Well,
That was intentional.
that would be fun.
What about baby steps? First time you can just put on your skates, stand on the ice for a minute, take a photo, then
To
come
be
back
honest
home.
with you, I've thought about that only for the sake of a photo. That, I have a photo and that's it. And then
Hashtag Instagram Live.
exactly. And then I'm done.
No judgment.
That's funny because I took a bunch of photos of me in my ice skates, in my ballet leotard, in my little dance studio. Thinking, look at
Wow.
me, I've got ice skates on. Of course, I wasn't on the ice, but I got pictures.
Aw. So, Varya, what about you? Is there anything you've been thinking about for a while now?
Well, I've wanted for a long time to learn how to play the violin. And I probably have no talent at all. I probably would be so horrible, but I'd like to try.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, find the right teacher and, as long as you're enjoying yourself, nothing else matters.
It reminds me, like I was thinking, or I have been thinking of continuing to study for another foreign language apart from English. I mean, I used to study German when I was at university. I used to study French when I was at school, but I'm probably not able to speak any of those two. I sometimes start to think, I need to continue. I just don't know why, but
Do you have any language in mind, or do you want to stick to French or German?
yeah, I guess French or German, because I just don't want that experience to be in vain. I mean, it didn't lead to anywhere. So
Oh, but that's a good thing, though. Yeah. Again, we can look at it this way: learning another language.
yeah,
helping you with
for the
neuro-
sake of
yeah.
being a better teacher of English also, because sometimes we teachers need to be students also.
Oh,
It
yeah,
helps
that's
us
for sure.
to be better teachers because it helps us to be maybe more sympathetic to our students and to understand what they actually experience.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, again, you've mentioned the neuroplasticity. That is one of the effects, of learning a new language. You keep your brain young, you
Yeah.
learn something new. But speaking of language, that's actually a good point, because I've been taking Spanish classes for the last half a year. And oh my God, I now understand my elementary students. I'm like, I know what you're going through. Like, oh no, I can't do this and that. I understand you. Trust me.
Yeah, because
I can
brain
feel
really
it.
hurts.
Yeah, and
you feel
yeah.
it.
And if they're like, the past tense, I'm like, trust me, I understand you. But just be grateful that in English you only have like one form, like go, went, do, did. In Spanish, they conjugate. Like past form is one thing, we different, you, one person different, you as a plural different. And I'm like, why?
You're talking about the Russian language as well. It's the same thing.
But in the past, we only have two forms. Let's say we have the word to do, делать. In the past, it's делал, делала. Okay, делали. Like,
But all those prefixes, whether
the
it's
prefixes,
perfected and imperfect.
prefixes, yeah. This is a hard thing. Yeah, that's true. All righty. I've been contemplating the language. Well, I had been contemplating learning another language until New Year. And then in January, I'm like, you know what? I want something that is not studying for work and, nothing like that. So I picked the Spanish. And now there's only one. Well, is that like professional? What is it? Defamation or something? Because I sometimes look at our classes. I'm like, I know how to make them better from the point of like, my teacher. And I'm like, don't say anything, Katja. Keep
Just
your
let
mouth
it
shut.
go.
Enjoy the process. You're a student here. Don't say anything. So I've kept my mouth shut. Oh.
This is also useful because it develops you as a person.
Yeah, the ability to actually not say a thing, but yeah. I've also been contemplating moving to another country. It's still, like up in the air, but I've been thinking about Argentina a lot.
Oh, the Argentine tango.
The tango, the wine,
Oh, yes.
the flora, fauna, all of that. So instead of like, pigeons, they have the the parrots.
Macaws.
Yeah. That's the,
And you could wear gaucho pants.
Yep. So, and I've been just thinking, if it wasn't for the ticket price, which is now like $3,000 one way per person, I think I want to.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's
Wow.
stopping me. So I'm like, I gotta save money for a couple of years for that. But I'm like, you know what? I kind of like the way it sounds. So, yeah. But tell me, one last question for today. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but do you have any regrets about any of your decisions or something you would have done differently?
Well, in general, just to be clear, I don't regret anything in my life because I'm not that kind of person, to dwell in the past. Sure, there are things that I would have liked to be done differently, but then again, I always tell myself, but that made you, the person that you are today.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much as I want to cry over spilled milk and, be sorrowful about it, but that's life. I mean, we grow. Life doesn't come in just, one form. There's always the ups and the downs, sometimes somewhere in the middle, but that's just life. And you will always learn something. And hopefully, whatever you learn, it will stick with you such that you no longer do the same kind of mistakes, because otherwise you're going to be stupid if, you do the same mistakes, especially if it's again and again. So
Fair enough.
I would agree with Ken. All mistakes make us a better version of ourselves. So
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
What doesn't kill us will most likely try again.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I stand by my decisions. I'm very happy with all my decisions, but I do regret, things. I will dwell in the past. I definitely am a dweller. It was horrible.
Wow.
It's horrible. But I will think, why didn't I do that better? Well, I couldn't. I was incapable of doing that better.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognize it once I come out of that. But
It is what it is.
yeah, it is exactly.
Fair enough.
Well, so what? I tried.
Fair enough. I only have one little regret in life. When I was in the US, I didn't study really well. So, I got like a couple of C's and everything. And I'm like, I should have studied better. I should have chosen different subjects and I should have gotten that, well, at least a B. I'm not a perfectionist, so not an A+ or anything, but at least a B. But I didn't. So I audited most of my courses. And I'm like, I should have credited them and worked harder. But well, again, as you said, we are who we are. So kind of it happened.
I also sometimes regret not studying better at university, for example. Not studying German better
But well, we can study now.
Well, I have to say that I don't have that regret because I went to college later in life. So I already knew that you had to really put in something.
That's really a good point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Really is, yeah.
Because I just sometimes think that if I didn't do it that time, it means that I was not ready or I couldn't.
Absolutely.
Now, the present me can, but the past me just could not.
I sometimes think about my, college years because I got accepted into college when I was 16, just turned 16. And then we had, philosophy class. I mean, come on, I was 17 when we had philosophy. Of course, I wasn't interested in that. Now I think, oh my God, I would like to have like some of those classes again when I'm like 29. So, but we can't. So it is what it is. Well, thank you so much. It was so fun to talk about this. And so I was so happy to see Ken one last time, before your big adventure. And we actually have one more, well, maybe piece of news or, to tell you listeners about. If you do not know, in our VK group, in our VK community, we actually now have an opportunity, you have an opportunity to become what is called a donor and to donate. And in this case, you'll have some premium, material, some extra things that you won't see otherwise. So if you're intrigued, go and check this out. That would include a special chat with us, the hosts and the guests, where you can discuss, the topic of the podcast live. So if you're not intrigued, come on, check this out. Chat with us. So, and apart from that, I hope you remember that we have a lot of other social media, such as we have YouTube, we have Instagram page, and of course we have our wonderful website where you can find anything you want. Podcasts, videos, articles, you name it. So make sure to check this out as well. So that was Katja, and again, my guests were
Ken
And Maria.
Varya.
See you around.